Kosia Kweku. Okay, and then hey, about where the all
Hello.
It's saying.
Patrick, I'm sorry.
Yamia do me hoye.
Me Patrick, your friend Benedicta.
Benedicta ofie din ye den.
Your friend Nana Equia Nyame.
Nana Equia Nyame. Nana Equia, would you de? Just a royal, so moody and boy. Okay, and Nana Equia.
Patrick, if you're in free South Africa back.
I'm from South Africa, ba.
Yeah, for the first time since 2001.
Oh, just 3 years?
No, since 2001, like over 20 something.
Wait! 2001.
Yes.
Saturday I started radio manya 1 year.
Wow.
Me started radio the year 2000.
Wow.
And to Ghana 2001.
Yes, ma'am.
And I got South Africa.
Yes, ma'am.
Just there now you were going round?
Actually, I did move around a little bit because I enjoy road trips.
Okay.
So much. So I was touring a lot on in South Africa, but
country.
Okay. Me Paucho, when you first time I'm back Ghana, so I'm just here to experience and see how.
Oh, it is right.
Inside. Yes.
Oh, that's great. And then me mama kwaba.
Me that's it.
Ghana ed.
I can see. So far so good.
Number one in the Said you won't fed. But I'm so happy. Said when me buy man and nam.
That's it.
The Monty. And the on share Emma Aaron Rough Friday. I say. On share me Rough Friday. What's I say? Because who of a pa? What try beauty pageant be there?
I did Miss Ghana South Africa in 2016.
And then see.
I was in top 10.
Of course.
Thank you.
Of course. Who of it? There may do want say when you're keeping your natural color, which is powerful. Just over I'm a Facebook for that they enjoy. Facebook for them ladies see. Just welcome them. Obi for 21 years. Me wa. I know about Ghana. And so Timmy Kachi.
Yeah.
Obi ko be obi man so a. Odi 2 years, 3 years when what to the mother tongue got to actually na or come for 21 years or Timmy Kachi no ne adia kama. Yeah, Nanekia. I make a been show. What show who see?
That's it.
For 21 solid years.
Yes,
we are Baba Bia. Our Quacotina Obi Manso. Anka won't keep you calam pose. Anka will bank what I showed you, which is so Amma me, Kojo Papa, you know. So what keep yourself? If I tell me, can't I say, maybe someone send beer. Just be open because on this show, no, a hand and coffee bray is soon a dear.
Okay.
Maybe I say, so be open up.
Yes.
Me Bajama say so call ground for boy and half a boy.
That be
one for boy.
Not that much.
I know you gotta talk alright. Baby, I just wanna talk to you. Talk to you. Know this shit. Know this shit. Know what it is.
Hey guys, my name is Benedicta. Welcome to my first official YouTube video. For those who don't know me, I am a part-time model. I am a freelance tutor, and if you would like to book me for your English lessons, you can always comment down below and I'll make a plan to reach out to you. Besides that, right now I'm trying to pursue my dreams of becoming a lifestyle influencer or a travel influencer. Those are things I'm very passionate about. Yeah, but today I'm about to remove my braids and I thought I would have a sit down and finally have this conversation. I've been in South Africa since 2001, and this is just one of those experiences I had that stood out to me. And it's one of those experiences that never fully left me. And I feel like now it's safe for me to talk about it since I've been in Ghana for like 3 weeks. And I feel like it's going to be a safe space and hopefully somebody can learn from this and maybe not make the same mistake that I did. Okay, so let's get right into it. Okay, so here's the reason why I'm telling this story now. I was always afraid of speaking up ever since that time. because I felt like I'll probably get into trouble again for something I didn't really do. I didn't do at all. But yeah, the main reason why I'm telling this story is because when you're in Ghana, you find that a lot of elderly people give you advice, right? But this advice really it stood out to me, and I really wanted to share it. So I recently met an elderly man. I was hanging out with family, and I met an elderly man, and he was telling me I'm really beautiful and that I've got a bright future ahead of me. I really appreciate those kind of stuff. And there's one advice he gave me. He said that I should always try to not be first, and I should also make sure I'm not the last. I should always make sure I'm in the middle. And this kind of like brought a whole new perspective into my life, and here's why. So when I was in South Africa, this was, I think, in the year probably 2013. Is it? No, probably 2012. Yes, probably the year 2012. I was doing my grade 11. That's like my 11th grade of high school. And so in school, since grade 1, I've always been top 5, top 10, top 5, top 10. On prize giving day, I've always been that girl who will always get a prize, even if I'm not the first in school. Even if I'm not the first in my class, I would always make sure that on prize giving day I get a prize. I have to get a prize for something. And I always made sure I had a prize. And ever since I was a kid, my parents have always encouraged me to do better. However, I've always been sort of like the average smart girl. So I would always be in the middle, like either top 5, top 6, top 7, top 5, top 6, top 7, you know. So it came a time when we were in grade 11, right? Like the competition was pretty tough, and this time I really wanted to prove to myself that I can actually make it to top first or second. And yeah, so I really wanted to study hard for these coming exams that were coming. That was like one of our final exams. So what I did is I got together with some friends of mine, and we decided to put money together so that we can hire a tutor who's gonna help us prepare for our exams, right? Obviously, well, our parents couldn't afford. My parents, to be honest, could not afford a tutor at that time. So I felt like if I could get an extra help or an extra push, I'm gonna make it. Like, I'm gonna be first in my class, because just doing things on my own, regardless of all the struggles I was going through at that time with my family, I was always top 4, top 5, top 6, top 7, you know. And I was very competitive, and I was always working hard. Either in history class, I was usually first in my history class, or English class. That, let me tell you that. So yeah, this time I really wanted to be top in everything, because at the end of the year, it doesn't really matter if I was top in English. It doesn't really matter if I was top in history. You know, the overall scores will determine whether I become first or not. So I was very competitive, and I really wanted the prize, you know, a first prize. However, we managed to put some money together, and we managed to get ourselves a tutor who was helping us study for our exams. And this tutor was very good. And if there's something in essay, right, in essay, before exams, they usually give you past papers. You know, this thing of past papers where you can use to revise. Like, there's like revisions of past papers, and you find that some past papers actually you find that you come across some past papers where you studied, and those past papers, it's like they take some questions from those past papers. If you're a South African, I'm sure you know this, where you find that some past papers, actually have some questions in the actual exam of that year. So you find that, let me give this an example. You find that the exam past paper of 2010, section A, you find the section A part in the 2012 exams, final exams, or term 1 questions from 2009 or 2000 and whatever. You find them in 2015 exams, like, that kind of stuff. So one thing about us, we decided to get as many past papers as possible. We wanted to get as many past papers as possible. And what we were going to do is we were going to answer as many of those questions. We were going to quiz each other on those questions. And guess what? We were going to memorize those answers. We were going to memorize those answers so that when we see them, we know the exact answer to give. So, well, for me, I had a very photographic memory. I still do. So it was easy for me to copy and paste answers in my head. And it was usually the reason why I passed in most of my school, like my schoolwork and stuff. But yeah, it was actually pretty helpful at that time whenever we came across a past question that actually fits with the current, the current exam, because you already know you studied it and you were ready for that answer. You're ready to give the answers that needed to be given. Cool. So my friends and I managed to study. We managed to get the as many, like I said, we managed to get as many past papers as possible, and we managed to study. And I think we were studying for the final exam, I think between 2 to 3 months prior to the actual exam. So we were fully prepared. We wanted to be at least first, second, and third in class, and we really wanted to ace that exam. Okay, long story short, we wrote the exam and the results came in, and here's where things got crazy. The results came in, and then we were called to, I was called to the principal's office after the exam. I was called to the principal's office, and the principal asked me, when I got in let me actually put it this way. When I got into the boardroom, it was all my teachers sitting in the boardroom. Literally all my teachers sitting in the boardroom, and it was quiet, and it felt like I had done something wrong. I literally felt like I have done something wrong. So I was asked to take a seat and the door behind me was closed. I took a seat, and first thing that my principal said to me was, we found out that you cheated in your exam. And I was like, cheated how? She told me that there's no way that I had passed the top girl in my class. And normally the top girl in my class would pass with 80s, 90s, so, and I would usually pass with 80s and 70s. But this time I think I was in the 90s now, and it was a hard competition for her. And I remember this girl used to get awards every single time. She was that girl. It was either her or some other chick who was in my class. So it was A and B. The classes were A, B, and C, I think. But I think I was in B. So the ones doing B were doing maths literacy, and I was doing maths literacy since I wasn't so good in maths. But the girl who had was in the other class, she was doing science and pure maths. So she she was pretty good, but in other subjects where we were in the same class, like economics, business, history, like I was a huge competition for her. So apparently I was passing her in this exam, and my principal just wouldn't accept it. Like, no, you cheated. That's why you are able to pass this girl. And that was the comments I received. And all my other teachers agreed that yes, definitely I must have cheated. Okay, so I said no, I did not cheat. I studied for the exam, and I made sure that I studied with my friends. And they're like, yeah, we already called your friends, and they admitted that you cheated. Huh? Okay, how? How did I cheat? How? Because first of all, we're not even allowed to take like papers into the exam and all that kind of stuff. And you know, how do I cheat in the entire exam? Like, do I take a full page of paper? Like, how did I get a full page of paper into the exam and cheat with it? Anyway, so she's like, no, you cheated. You guys, your friends admitted that you guys cheated and blah blah blah. I'm like, no. We had a tutor. We managed to book a tutor who helped us study for the exam, and the tutor did his job. I think the tutor did very well, you know. So, and they were like, no, we won't let you out of the office unless you admit that you cheated. So guys, I sat in the office. I was sitting there between, like, after school. I think the school closed around like 2 p.m. I was kept in the office, in the boardroom, surrounded by teachers for up to 2 hours. So up to 4 o'clock, I was in there alone, and they were asking me so many questions. They were making me feel like a criminal, you know. So it got to a point where I really wanted to go home. And I said, I need to go home. My younger sister is going to be home alone. I'm not there to open the door for her. And it's getting late. And they were like, they're not going to let me go unless I admit that I had cheated. One of my friends who I had studied with, they allowed her into the boardroom, and they told her that I admitted that we cheated. So I guess they were trying to play mind games with us. And my friend panicked. I panicked. And we just said we want to go home. You know, we really did study. She actually brought them like a bunch. She brought them a full plastic. She was waiting outside. I guess she wouldn't leave without me. I'm not sure. Or I think she went home to get the full papers of past papers, that the full plastic of past papers that we had studied. So I think she was bringing in evidence to show them that we had studied these certain type of questions, and those questions actually seem to have appeared in the exam. And you know, and it's possible because most of the time our own teachers used to give us past papers that they knew were coming into the exam. Anyway, I think they looked through. I'm not sure. I wish I could explain. They concluded that we got exam papers. How we got the exam papers, I don't know, because the exam papers weren't even out yet. Until the day we were writing exams. And that's the thing with South Africa. The exam papers don't come out until the day you're writing exams. So how did we get a hold of the exam papers? And how did we cheat with the exam papers? And you'd have to have access to it in a very fraudulent and weird way. And we weren't even sure how we were going to go about getting those papers in the first place, if that was the case. So, long story short, they accused us. They wouldn't let us leave. And it was like around 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. I remember my parents were calling my phone. They wouldn't allow us to pick our phones. And they told us they would allow us to leave only if we admit that we cheated. So Since we wanted to go home, I think as kids we really didn't think of it much. So we decided to just admit that we had cheated. And before we left, our principal made sure that we wrote a letter stating that we had cheated, and in the manner that we cheated, she told us to write that we had gotten exam papers from where we don't know, but she wanted us to write that we had gotten exam papers and we used those exam papers to cheat. Took us about another hour or so. So imagine school closing at around 2 p.m. and then they kept us there until like almost 7 p.m. in the evening, not allowing us to call our parents, nothing like that. So we ended up admitting to things that we didn't even do because we really wanted to go home, and they were willing to keep us there the whole night. According to them, our parents were called in the next day. My parents knew that I didn't cheat because I'm not even that brave. I was the most timid person in school, and I really worked hard for everything, and they knew how hard I would study even at night. They would be sleeping at night and I would still be studying. I sleep exactly at 2 a.m. in the morning because that's how hard I used to study, and it still stuck with me. They got our parents to sign off some papers as well that would force us to repeat the entire grade. I ended up repeating my grade 11. My friend who refused to repeat, she was suspended out of school and she wasn't given her results for grade 11, so she had to repeat grade 11 in another school. My other friend, well, we studied with her on and off, so but she passed really well, you know, and she wasn't really like any of the top 10 kids. So for her, she was also punished as well to repeat a grade, and we ended up in the same class actually. The second time we stayed in grade 11. So long story short, just aim to be in the middle, okay? Don't aim to be first, and it doesn't mean that you should be comfortable being last either, but you know, just work hard to make sure that you do what you need to do, but don't ever feel like you need to be first all the time, or that, you know, it's a must to be first, because that's when you draw negative energy. I guess you draw in negative attention, and then there's bad things that happen. I wish I could explain the lesson in a much better way, but basically that's what I learned. I never thought that I could actually repeat a grade for passing too well, but I did. So in the year that I repeated a grade for passing too well, I remember in every exam, even in the answers that I knew, I would actually like put in the wrong answers or leave it empty so that there's like a balance. I didn't want to pass anything more than 90. I just wanted to stay between 80 and 70, and I made sure that I did that. In college, I showed off a bit, you know. I would literally even take everyone's assignments and do it for them. Everyone in my team, I would take the whole assignment and do it so that we can all pass. But in high school, grade 11 and grade 12, I made sure that I literally fail some stuff just so that there's like balance. Is that an actual lesson? Like, you know, is that an actual lesson? Like someone shouldn't really work too hard, you know? But I don't know. I'm just telling this story because what that old man told me made sense. You know, if you become first, you draw negative attention. You do. If you become first, you draw negative attention, and same goes for when you are last. So yeah. Okay, so it's my final look. I hope you guys like it. Yes, I'm locking my hair, so I hope you guys will go through the whole lock journey with me. I recently spoke to my dad, and he still remembers this whole thing very well. He says that if he had the money back then, he would have probably hired some lawyers to intervene, but maybe I just needed to learn the lesson. and I was traumatized for a while, but it's in the past and I'm fine. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe. If you're already here, you've already been here, please like, comment, let me know what you think about the whole situation, and hopefully I'll get to give you more story times because I've had a crazy life in South Africa. Yeah, so let me know what you think, and if you want to follow me, here are my details on the screen. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook. You can actually find me on Preply if you would like to book some of my lessons. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.